I didn't log in.
Welcome everybody to Always Almost There evening after show for the second time. This time hours after the last show. We actually
Evening
have music
of show.
Evening of show.
Yes.
Unheard of stuff.
Amsterdam.
And, here we have everybody from Always Almost There that matters.
Dude.
And we're bringing it
four.
here.
We call it the Big Four.
The Big Four. We're missing nobody.
People are excited. I mean, we've got rail riders for the podcast right now.
Well, but hold on a second. Hold on. Yeah. I'm sorry. I just hope that the rail riders from America, like, took a step back and let the locals get up there, because I don't think these locals have ever been to a concert before, and so they don't know how to get a spot up front if that's what they want. And so the Americans really have to take the lead and get the fuck back. Let the locals have some space. They've never been to a concert. Okay, sorry, that's my...
And luckily this venue has it set up where they didn't want people in line for an hour until before show anyway, so they know.
Well, they didn't want the Americans up
They
there.
knew. They knew. They know what's up.
They're like,
it's
please,
the anti-American deal.
The 10 of you, please don't sit here all day.
Oh man. All right. Well, so we've got everybody that matters. We have Danny Rosewood's here on his way to yoga. This is commitment to the pod, so we're all grateful to have him.
I think he's all stretched out, isn't he? I thought he was done.
Oh,
you're going to it. So I get to warm up by being worked up talking about a show here.
Got it. And then you'll go. So you'll be centered, and then you can go center the rest of yourself.
You'll be off-centered.
yeah.
Oh man. Well, who knows where this is gonna go. All right, folks. Why don't we just dive into the set list here? Heater of a first set today. I'm never gonna get used to saying today.
Today's show.
Today's show. Just earlier today, many of us were at work, driving home from work, listening to the show. Some
Taking
people.
Calls.
None of us were neglecting our jobs while doing it, though, if anybody that we work with is watching.
Yeah, none of us were at all.
I did great calls.
Dr. Darkness opener into Switchin', the greatest cover that appears in the first set ever.
Switching.
Then California Magic. You get a... Well, actually, I want to go back and talk about the Switchin' for a second. This one is like super hot. Peter was on fire in this thing. And I know he's like always on fire in this thing, but there's something special about this switching. As a switching aficionado, I just want to say this is a particularly good one. We don't have many switchings with Peter on the organ, and I don't know what it is. It's just like Peter on
the synth organ too.
Yeah, the electric organ. So I mean, that's pretty cool stuff. And I'm glad Ryan's not here to correct me on whether or not electric organ is the wrong thing to say. But that is particularly hot. And also, I want to point out that switching is not spelled switching.
I was going to call you out. I was going to call you out on that G. I heard you pronounce that.
I think I heard
it. I did it because I had that in the back of my head.
Inside joke.
Yeah.
Definitely an inside joke. So then you get California Magic for the first time on what feels like forever. Wisteria Lane, and then this is where the set really, really heats up. And I've got a lot of things to say about this Wisteria Lane, so I'm not going to kind of dwell on this now, but it has got a gorgeous jam in it. After what is a pretty good typical section of Wisteria Lane, and then into an Electric Avenue where you get several minutes of excellent jamming. And then you get yet another excellent Everything Must Go. Been kind of waiting to see what would happen with that song after the last version, which was absolutely incredible.
Fucking love that song.
And then like right there, I'm happy with this set. But then you get a Pancakes on top of all of that. So really, this is the set that just kept giving. So from Wisteria all the way through Pancakes, you're getting excellent jamming throughout this whole set. Amen. Really, really killer stuff. What do you guys feel about this set?
Yeah,
we can kind of go over the first three. I think that's the three is done, right? The first three.
Yeah, I mean, let's just dive in wherever you want to dive in.
Yeah, I mean, I would say right off the top that the Wisteria is not just a Bliss jam. I don't know if Neil, if you want to pick up on that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've got things to say. It's not just a Bliss jam. It's more than that. It is joy. It's triumph. It is the moment in the movie where the protagonist wins and everything goes their way. It's just it's got it all, man. It's pure serotonin. It's just happiness and joy, and just so much more than bliss. It's winning. I don't know what else to say. I mean, talking about the music in particular, you get a pretty fiery version. And I was saying this before we recorded. I don't know if it was because on the live broadcast that Peter's piano was so incredibly loud, but the peaks in the kind of typical Wisteria section here felt incredibly dramatic. And the drums, I think, kind of matched it. So I don't know if it was really loud in the room. It'd be nice if we had somebody here who was at the show so they could say, what it sounded like there. But then, like on re-listen on Bandcamp, it wasn't nearly as loud. So I'm not sure. But point being is Peaks felt incredibly dramatic, drops into that jam section. And the percussion in that jam session is awesome. There's a couple minute stretch where the jam really hasn't formed, that kind of the bliss jam as we're calling it. And it's, it just sounds so good, the percussion. And then the triumph and the joy come in, and you get a solid almost 10 minutes of that at the back end of this jam. I think sometimes we talk about jams where we said, like, where the end is really, really good. The end of this jam is really good, and it happens to be half of the song.
This was good throughout.
Yeah, so those are my thoughts on this Wisteria.
Yeah. MVP is Peter, in my opinion, in that song. Anybody that hasn't gone back to re-listen, key in on, no pun intended, key in on Peter, just switching from piano to organ, back to piano.
Dude, I mean, you just said switching too, so you're like keying in on Peter, no pun intended. Switching. He's going to do the whole set.
What do you got to say, Brian?
Let me just say real quick. I love switching, and I think it's such a perfect show opener. And we've been talking about Dr. Darkness openers because they've been doing this, and we've been talking about maybe how that works there, and maybe what you do after, and things of that nature. I think tonight, when I look at the breakdown of this show, I think maybe you open with switching it to the opener, and you take that Dr. D and those 9 minutes, and you add that to the end of the second set, and then you get either a 61-minute set 2, or you get the 52-minute set 2, but you get a little bit of an encore. So I know it's tough, and there's no encores, happening on this tour, right? So
there's no such thing as encore in Europe.
They're using.
I don't know. It's weird,
Despite being a French word,
encore in Europe. So, but anyway, love to see switching come up as always. And Wisteria is it's hot, and I haven't been able to go back and do a second listen on any of this. So I'm just going by in the moment kind of feels. And the Wisteria was super. I mean, Rick was absolutely shredding, and I feel like for a sustained period, I mean, it was a really high energy kind of extended peak, I guess. And then, there's another Electric Avenue, and they take this to a cool little space. And I think this is what we were talking about this a little bit before, I think, where we were saying on a previous, episode, talking about, maybe Electric Avenue is due and kind of maybe deserves, an extended version, really kind of take it out there. So I really love that they at least gave us a little something like maybe some brief type 2 even. So super cool. And then just a hot close to this set. Yeah, I mean, once you said it, I mean, once you hit Wisteria, this set it's pretty much pedal to the floor.
All gas, no brakes, dude. The whole way.
Yeah. So,
and that's 60 minutes too, or 50, almost 60 minutes of those 4.
Oh no, it's less than that, but
55, 52.
Is it 50?
But yeah, that's a really enjoyable set. I'm really looking forward to listen to this again later.
Jive, have you described encores as being antiquated, being an antiquated practice? Because you're being quoted in the comments there.
There it is, right there. I missed that.
I mean, who knows? Who knows what I might have said?
Jive is not responsible for anything he says after,
especially in the last pod.
After the pod is edited, it's done.
Here, okay, so just in case I did say that, which I don't know if I did or not, but like, here's the thing. I don't actually care if it's an encore, like if you leave the stage and come back. Yeah, I think we did talk about this one time, and I was like, I mean, what is the fucking point of that? You know what I mean? It's like, I think a lot of people, and then when we look at this show, it's like, I just want the minutes. You know what I mean? I don't.
Yes.
I don't even care if you had to leave the stage and come back. I think it's an ego thing. You know what I mean? And I do like that. Sometimes Goose, when they are it's strictly pressed for time. And they are about to, they're like, oh shit, do we walk off for a minute? They used to do this a lot. I think when they first started, kind of this happening to them. I think they'd find themselves in this position where they were like, I mean, shit, are we supposed to, like, do we need to leave? Like, is that what we're supposed to do? Like, we're going to do an encore, and they just kind of said, fuck it. Like, we're not going to waste your time. You know what I mean?
As was the custom.
We're just going to encore that shit without leaving the stage. And 2 to 3 minutes.
So 2 to 3 minutes.
So I'm okay with that. But give us the minutes though. You know what I mean? Give us that song, regardless of whether or not you leave the stage. But I feel like maybe we didn't quite get that with the set 2. But we'll get to set 2 here in a minute.
No 4-minute white lights. I mean, but no, I agree. I think the only, I would have liked that. Yeah, switching Magic, Darkness, and then Wisteria would have sort of flowed a little bit better, I think. But no qualms. Great, short but efficient. Everything Must Go. I think we were talking about it. Yeah, definitely hits more to the darker minor keys too,
man.
which is
it's
nice.
Punchy.
Yep, it's got some good stuff, and the Pancakes last little piece I thought it was like very good 12 minutes of just type 1 sort of heavy Rick, and then they kind of have a nice little extension on the back end of it too. Very, very, very strong. So yeah, set 2.
Oh no, I've got more things to say about set 1. Oh yeah, no, I hadn't finished. I just talked about Wisteria. So
all right, yeah, keep going.
There's lots to say. Yeah. I mean, we said a little bit about this Electric Avenue already, but I just kind of want to point out that the Bliss Jam that we kind of were thinking about was happening in the Wisteria Lane actually shows up in this Electric Avenue. It is a gorgeous, blissful jam. And then it goes like straight Steve Miller Band for like a minute. Like, I don't know what the hell like Pete is doing on the synth, but I mean, it really sounds like Steve Miller Band to me. I don't know. Could be wrong there, but it's this Electric Avenue definitely worth going back and listening to. Actually, if we talk about re-listenability of sets, we talk about it all the time. Start at Wisteria Lane, listen to the whole rest of this set, banger every time. You're not going to be disappointed in even a second. I think you kind of understated how good that Everything Must Go really is. This is one of the best Everything Must Goes they've ever played.
Fucking song gets me so pumped up. Like I get so pumped up listening to it.
And the way they like come back into Everything Must Go at the end of this, like go back and listen to that exact moment. It went from pure chaos to, again, triumph back into Everything Must Go. It's so wonderful. And then this Pancakes, you get like a fiery, type 1 Pancakes throughout this whole thing. And then at the very end, it's just like an earthquake. I don't know how else to describe it, because like the bass and the drums and like the dissonant guitar and everything, like none of it sounds like music. It just sounds like rumbling. It's so good.
I think we're gonna have to call this the low sodium cakes.
Low sodium.
Well, because you have salt cakes, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
I don't think you want anybody. I don't think you want anybody out there. And they're that dude. The salt cakes crew. You know what I mean? Like they don't fuck around. You know what I mean? They take it seriously. And so
Low sodium, I like it.
Salt Cakes crew isn't going to hear you talking about this pancakes as being too hot. You know what I mean? Too salty.
Milky Way cakes. Milky Way
probably
cakes.
low
Milky
sodium,
Way cakes.
Milky Way
low,
cakes.
low
Milk
sodium cakes.
Yeah.
I think also the last third time in a row, Wisteria, Electric Ave, so Lane Ave. We had Detroit. We had Fort Collins. I mean, is this just I don't know. I think we can get into those spaces where songs get paired together always, and I don't know if it's. I mean, I'd like to see them different next time, but they sound great together. That's the other part is all three of the versions we've gotten. I think Electric Ave has gotten a little stronger each time, and the Wisteria maybe tonight versus other times. But no, seriously, I think it's.
Do you think?
it's something?
I mean, do you just think Coach was like, "Oh, Lane Ave,
Lane Ave,
bro"?
bro, again, I wrote it in Lane Ave.
Sir, this is a bicycle city.
Yeah, roads. So they're taking all the roads around
Oh
Europe.
man. So for set break vibes, the only thing I got is that Happy left the show and went to a bar. We don't know if he ever came back.
Yeah,
He did.
not
He came
the
back.
bar, a bar.
A
He
bar.
said,
Undisclosed
we said,
location.
Hey,
I was like-
if you could do that in any city in the U.S., I would probably do it a lot. You know what I mean?
Just
Because you
walk
figure
out
you
and come
got 50 minutes
Yeah.
for the set break,
Yeah.
and so yeah.
And he just
you know what I mean?
heard he got
And you're in a
magic
new
in his
city?
pants. Like
yeah, magic in your
Yeah.
pants.
Yeah, looking
think-
for
I mean,
love.
Yeah. Ryan just let us know that that it was he
Who?
was out and about. Oh! I just so when Ryan
Leg bolt.
let us know that it was out. He was out at a bar, and you said, "Wait a minute, why are you leaving a show?" But you can walk in the streets there like that, and then you're
Yeah.
back.
And it's true because Peggio was on the set list. Haps was like, get the
He's
fuck
like,
out
"Nah,
of here.
I'm out."
Yeah.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So set 2.
do you do your own stunts, Neil? Because there's a lot of requests of you in the chat here. Like,
I know.
For
there's a lot-
instance,
you're-
somebody's
you can read the
asking-
chat.
well,
yeah.
yeah, somebody wants your credit card number. Are you
Nice.
okay?
It's not
posting
very
that?
useful. I mean, happy to provide it.
Phishing scams.
But no, I don't do my own stunts. All right. So
Jag does them.
set 2, short set. I think a surprisingly short set because a lot of people were hyping up the fact that this city was like a no curfew city. It's like New York. You can play until 4:00 in the morning if you want.
Yeah.
And
We've got all
Wetlands in the
night.
90s.
Somebody said we've got
What?
all night on the board. Someone was like,
Yeah.
"We've got all night."
Who
before-
kept saying we've got all night? And Peter was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, we got all night." And like when I heard that, it was like, "Oh, hey, maybe
Let's
we have
go.
all night."
Well. So before everything must go, I don't know if maybe Rick was maybe questioning like, do we have time for? And I was thinking when I heard like Peter say, "Oh, we've got time," I'm thinking one song, and the question was, do we have time for this long song, right?
Yeah.
But that was before everything must go, and so then you get the everything must go thing at the pancakes. You didn't have time. It turns out you didn't.
Narrator, they did not have enough time.
Yeah. Rick was
No,
like,
but-
"Can we also do Everything Must Go?"
No, but here's
And you're
but,
like,
but here's
"Yeah,
what I
we
was
got
going to
that."
say. Truthfully, what I was going to say was, after he was like, "Oh shit, do we have time?" And they dropped Everything Must Go and Pancakes. That's when I was like, "Oh shit, they got all the time they need. They must have all the time they need." Because
Yeah.
What?
that was, you know what I mean? They're not fucking
I was
around.
thinking
That's
Philly
not-
Night 2. Here we go.
Yeah,
Like lots of minutes of music. You're getting like tons of jams,
Yeah.
jams that you wouldn't expect.
yeah.
on top of jams that you wouldn't
Fish did
expect.
3 sets at the Milkweg. Basically, kind of, sorta, and an encore.
I heard it's pronounced Milkvig.
Milk V.
Milk-a-vig.
Yeah.
Milk-a-vig.
Yeah,
Milk
my
a vig.
apologies.
I might have heard that from you.
So anyway,
Anyway,
It's
All right.
it's
well,
a short set. You were saying it's a
let's
short
talk
set.
about the set.
Somebody
Yeah,
accurately, I just want to highlight. Somebody accurately pointed out that despite those 3 sets in the encore for Fish, that they probably didn't even know that they played that long. So
I think it's fair to say if you've ever
Yeah.
heard that recording.
Hot show though. It's a hot show. It's good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. So it makes you wonder, like, was this a self-imposed curfew? I don't know. It's surprising to me, especially like the
they got to go to
reputation
Denmark.
that
even
this
with an
this
update.
But
has.
was there like club activities happening?
yeah, was
After,
there
I
a
mean, was it
disco?
being-
Was there a disco
Discotheque?
after?
Yeah,
Discotheque?
it's just like freaking
I
Europe,
thought
man.
I think our buddy Rob texted me about people like entering the club as they were leaving. I don't know. I don't know if, but I don't know if he was talking about the venue or what.
Diesel?
Yeah. So highs and lows in
Yeah.
Europe. I think we've learned from this conversation. High, you can leave the bar at set break and then come back in to go to another bar. So that's a good point. Can't do that in the United States.
they
anywhere.
actively tell you not to line up
Yeah.
6
Yep,
hours.
so that's
before the
another
show
high,
starts.
right?
Yeah.
Another pro.
Another
and
high.
then huge con, fucking discos, like at 10 o'clock at night. So they kick you out of the club.
So
2
that
hours of
begs
music.
that begs the question, right? Why aren't they booking the disco time slots?
Late night.
Probably because the disco time slots are what really sells in Europe. That's my guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Okay.
all right. So let's dive into this incredibly short set. This podcast might run longer than this set, I think.
Why don't we just call the second set the encore, and then that everybody's happy
Yeah,
It
It was
I
a
think
single
that's right.
setter with a
with an
four-song
elongated
Yeah.
encore. Yeah.
55-minute encore.
Yeah,
All right,
good
so you
point.
get Silver
I
Rising.
like your attitude, Kev.
Just trying to stay positive, B.
It's a positive spin.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so let's get into this encore.
Yeah. So Silver Rising, Thatch. I mean, do you want to do this in parts? I mean, we shouldn't because this is a
Well,
5-song second set,
Just
and not the
tell
kind
the
of
people what they
5-song
played.
second set.
Just
you're
tell them.
excited
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Let's
So Silver Rising, Thatch, Feel It Now, Hunger Sight, into Animal. And I don't have a ton of thoughts on this set. I think
Mario.
I Feel It
Thatch.
Now was satisfying. I think there's been big gaps in Feel It Now, so I'm thrilled that it actually was kind of on a shorter gap this time being played. Yeah, and then Thatch. I mean,
Mario
Thatch
fun.
was pretty good. I didn't pick up on that. People were talking
You
about
didn't?
the Mario thing.
Oh,
do
yeah.
you want to take that away? Because I have no idea what people are saying.
Yeah, so right when they leave the compose section, Peter's kind of messing with the organ, and you can hear coming out of the clav section, and he like I didn't see this part on video, but he clearly is trying to like work through the clav, and then all of a sudden just hits this ding 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 ding, just literally Mario coin sound, and kind of realizes that he hit it, and then leaves it for a second, and then just keeps coming back to it, and it's sort of, you can tell he's on the clav, but it's just, I don't know. Peter said it was by accident, I guess, but so, and then he just wrote it out for a bit, so it's kind of around like the 6 to 7.5, 8 minute mark of the song. I went back in, and but yeah, I mean, overall I thought it was a good Thatch, not near some of the other ones, of course, but good Thatch, and the highlight of the set, for sure, for me as well.
So Rick kind of was playing this like choppy, dissonant run repeatedly towards the end, and that was really cool. I mean, there's a couple minutes especially. I mean, I like this Thatch. I like every Thatch.
Yeah, that's fair too.
And some say I've overrated some Thatches, but I probably did. But
I mean,
this one's good, and there's a few minutes at the end of this. It's quite unique, and not so much in just kind of like the how they approach that. Like Rick kind of finding something cool. And they kind of rotate through that a number of times, and then they end up kind of maybe even adding a touch more tension than normal at the end of where because the stuff Rick was doing, these like choppy kind of dissonant licks or whatever, it was definitely adding tension there, and it was really cool, and they kind of cycled back through that, and I thought it sounded really cool. I'm really excited to listen back to that actually. And then they added a little bit more, a couple, big tension runs, and then close it out. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was good. I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say with they knew how much time they had. You know what I mean? So were they wrapping some of these songs up a bit earlier than they would have liked? I don't know. But it felt like maybe that Thatch, it was fairly complete. The Hunger Site, we'll get to. But I mean, I think that's a solid Thatch. So I could listen to it again.
I mean, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I mean, the Hunger Site, though, since you brought it up, I mean, that one hurt. They just jumped right out of that, and then it kind of went into that synth swell where I was like, oh, this is going to be Dripfield. Because I was expecting Dripfield at this show.
Yeah,
I really wanted that Dripfield.
Were you confused like a lot of us were when Danny just left?
I didn't catch that part. Oh, when Danny just left. Oh, yeah. Just here. I think you were talking about like Danny, like the camera operator.
No. Danny
no.
Rosewoods.
Yeah, no, he left us a little chat. He said he
had
had
the
stretch.
yoga. He had the yoga.
It's very important stuff to remain limber.
Young man
Spry.
like
himself. Yeah.
Spry.
That's how you keep the mustache in line. So, this Hunger Site just felt like, why bother playing it? I don't get it. That Hunger Site, and then you get the animal, and I don't know. The back half of this set just feels disappointing. I don't know how to put it any other way. Like, I don't want to complain about this show because this first set's fire. It's one of it is the best first set of the tour so far. It's only 3 shows, but it's good stuff. But the second set, they ran out of time. I mean, that's the only way to talk about it.
Yeah. And I mean, here's the thing too. It's like, if we sound disappointed in that, it's because we love them. You know what I mean? And we want more from them. You know what I mean? And I think it's fair to say that we're accustomed to getting more, in terms of minutes, for sure. It's at 2 minutes. Absolutely. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that set 1 was largely, I mean, pretty hot,
Yep.
and it's a good show. It's a good show. And I think everybody, I think we heard it from the band, and we've heard it from a lot of people that we know who are there, that, this was a really enjoyable time, a few days in Amsterdam. And so, the band had a blast, the fans had a couple extra days, which I thought was great scheduling. Maybe that's happenstance that it worked out that way. But to have a couple of days to chill in Amsterdam, without having to like miss any shows, I mean, that's nice for everybody. You know what I mean? So yeah, so the band loved it. The fans loved it. So I think for a lot of the people who are experiencing this firsthand, Amsterdam in their minds is just going to be this incredible experience and this incredible time on this really awesome, fun tour. So yeah, I think when you put everything into perspective and think about this, from their point of view, maybe we're just the grumpy old men. I don't know.
No, but my point is, like, I'm not saying this was a bad show. I'm just saying,
I know.
And we were talking about this before. I think it's one thing when the band plays a short set when they're not playing so well. Then you're like, this show not so good. And every band's going to have stinkers, even the best did. But it's when the band is playing spectacularly that they have to like cut a set short. It just hurts. You're just kind of like, oh, damn it. Like, left some on the table there. It could have been something. And I mean, they played the set as written. The only thing they dropped is Peggy-O. I still think, Peggy-O would have been sick, but Jive, you were saying you didn't think it would fit in the way that set worked out. And I agree. It would have just been too slow for what was, an otherwise short set.
Yeah. Now, if it was Peggy-O and then Dripfield and then Animal Encore, I think that might have worked.
I would have taken that, right? That would have been spectacular. But yeah, not knocking the band and their choices at all, but I just wish they had an opportunity to play more minutes in that set, and I think would have been a spectacular show.
Well, and look, we talk about this, and like, I mean, I don't know. I think largely it just doesn't matter. But I'm just, as a curious person, and a really big fan, of the band and all the people around the band. I do want to know sometimes, like what happened. You know what I mean? What, I want to be a fly on the wall maybe for the conversations that are like, hey, maybe like at set break, it's like, hey, we've got X time. Like, are we changing something? Are we going to do a shorter set break? Like, it is what it is. This was always the plan. Like what does that look like? I don't know, but I'm curious sometimes, especially on nights like this, because it's like, hey, why not just cut set one shorter to at least have a, at least I think you want a 70-minute set two. I think if you're going to play a 2-set show, don't you want your set two? Now, I don't know. This is probably up for debate. I was going to say, like, don't you want set two to be like the money set? But who knows?
I do.
Maybe they're thinking, hey, new fans coming in, we gotta rip everything out set one, because people might not stay the whole night. And if we set, I mean, I don't know. Who knows?
You're bringing up an interesting point, because this is something we used to talk about way long ago, before we started even recording podcasts, when we were saying, like, in 2019, set one is where it was at.
Well,
right?
they were going back and forth. And I think this
Yep.
came up a lot. And I was thinking about this earlier. I'm glad you brought it up, Neil, that a lot of shows that we saw at that point were always talking about, and it went back and forth. I felt that it was either a great first set or a great second set. And we always felt like the maturation of the band was going to be when they're consistently stringing together, a solid, consistent 2 sets.
Right. So let me ask you this, though. Maybe it is intentional. Jai posed the question, so I'll present the hypothetical. Like, you think the comparisons to 2019 have to be there. The rooms are smaller. The instruments are similar. Like, it's just different, right? Like, Peter's playing electric organ. Peter's playing, the Rhodes patch on the Nord instead of the vintage vibe. So we are dialing back a couple of years in sound. Actually, like, joking somewhat, but kind of funny. If you want, like, 2019 vibes, after Electric Avenue, you've got a Trevor Take Your Shirt Off in this show. Same person who did it on all of the 2019 recordings. So go check that out if you're interested in that. So just like lots of like 2019 vibes right now. I don't know. It's something.
And good and bad ways, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It can't be intentional, but I had to draw the comparison there. That, like, all of a sudden. Go ahead.
No, you finish.
I was just gonna say, all of a sudden, like, it just feels like it gets jammed into one set, and the second sets feel rushed, and you feel bummed. That's what it's felt like so far. No encores yet. Yeah. So it's yet to actually feel like a real kind of complete show. And I am on record on this podcast as saying, like, I hate encores also. It is a silly thing to leave the stage and waste minutes of everybody's time. You might as well just, like, finish it out. I think tonight was awkward insofar as...
I'm going to defend the band here. You got to pee. Somebody needs a drink.
Yeah.
Like, they're humans just like we are, Neil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but so in this case, though, I think set one went too long, right? Based on the shortness of set two, that's all I mean by set one being too long. I think I would have put at least one of those songs onto set two to even things out a little bit more, right? But also, somebody's writing that set list. It's not like something went unexpectedly 25 minutes. And so then you've got to relook at the set list midway through going, oh shit, we didn't know we were taking, X song out there for that long. So now we need to adjust. Like that set one felt fairly straightforward in terms of what you would expect time-wise for every one of those songs. So that was written out as a long set. You know what I mean? And then set two just had the Peggio. So yeah. What's that?
Well, and then like another
max, right?
So, no, but like another 6 minutes of jam on Thatch and another 10 minutes on Hunger Site.
Yeah. So exactly. So that skews it even further though. So it's like, okay, well then maybe so that means that set was written in that way to have that long first set. So I mean, who knows? But also, if you're feeling it, you're feeling it. You know what I mean? Like maybe you did get to Everything Must Go, and you're like, oh shit, it's getting late. But it's like, nah, we're feeling it. So we wanted to play Pancakes. Let's fucking play it. You know what I mean? We're in a zone right now. I kind of feel like Rick was shredding really hard, and I mean they're feeling it. So there's that angle too. I mean, I think there's a lot. What we need to do is let's get the full band on here on the pod and just say, hey guys, come on, tell us what's going on.
Maybe we could have like a Festivus and get the band on, and we can air our grievances.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd be willing to do that. Oh man.
Well, I mean, we talked. These are questions that I think the people have too. You know what I mean? I don't think this is so much like, this isn't like fringe Jam of the Year crazy talk. I think a lot of people are like, "Whoa, that set was short," or "Whoa, you guys started late and then playing short sets. What's going on?" You know what I mean? So I mean, I think these are legitimate questions that a lot of people have. You know what I mean? So it's like you never want to put anybody on the spot with that kind of stuff either. You know what I mean? Because
we would give them the questions ahead of time. Yeah, we give the questions to them ahead of time.
Yeah. And we could also ask them, like, when are they going to play Scotty Doesn't Know?
Yeah.
As an homage to the box office smash hit Euro Trip.
Yeah.
From the
and I would just like to point out also that somebody mentioned came to play in the comments there that if we keep chatting for about 23 more minutes, we'll be longer than set 2.
Yeah, but
Neil predicted it.
Alas, I think we've actually reached the end here, unless we've got more thoughts on this show. We got anything here?
I'm good.
Jam.
Yeah, we should say jam a few more times. We're not going to say.
We're on to Denmark.
Right, we're on to Denmark. I'm actually excited. So we got Denmark in 2 days. We'll be right back here, provided that the internet in Denmark holds up. You never know in Europe. So there might be a pod, there might not be a pod. So like if you're lining up for the rail, check Twitter.
Don't. If you're lining up for the rail, stop. Stop.
The pod rail. Talking about the
if
pod
you're an
rail.
American, the pod lining up for the pod rail.
That's okay.
Well, okay, let me. If you're lining up for the pod rail, stop. You also need to stop.
All right. Well,
no, don't line up for any rails.
Yeah, no rails at all.
We will not do that shout out. It's not happening.
Yeah, we're not doing any shout outs. We will say goodbye. Cheers, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back in a couple days to recap Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
Yeah.
Cheers, y'all.